All right. So today we are going to talk about how could an interfaith relationship work. This is a topic I think we both feel strongly about, and we're both excited to talk about because we have felt that rather than feeling like it's a negative thing that our religions are different, I think we both view it as one of our biggest strengths in our relationship. And so the first thing is that I feel like when you're in an interfaith relationship, you are forced to have really, really good communication. So right from the beginning, Rahim and I have had to be open, honest, vulnerable about absolutely everything that we believe in, feel, and just kind of get it all out there just to make sure, because we're both the type of person that we're like, we want to make sure that we have the same values and like visions of, at least for me, it's like I think about the future a lot. So I'm like, I wanted to know right at the beginning, like his everything, right? And I think that, I mean, interfaith and also intercultural relationships, you're forced to do that sooner and in more depth right from the beginning than I think, and this doesn't go for every relationship, but I just think that if I was dating somebody who came from my culture and like was the same religion and all these things, and you just kind of make assumptions. You assume that they've had a similar life to you maybe not, but maybe you might assume that they like have the same exact values as you because you grew up in the same religion. And so you might not have certain conversations until you've had issues that bring up that conversation. Whereas for us, I think for me, I very much was thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have to talk about this and talk about this and talk about this because I don't want us to have issues about this later on. I want to make sure that we kind of are on the same page about these sort of things.
Exactly. I believe in any good things in life are based or in good values. So there is a little small thing we did. I advise clearly and truly to any couples who want to get married or who's even getting married now. One day, when we decided and we found that we are in love so deeply to each other, I think it was like an inspiration from God. It was like I heard something was like God is telling me. I was like, we were sitting like there's a notebook just beside us. We were like, it was a tough time. It was like there is some kind of a lot mix of emotions. There is crying, and we will talk about that so deeply later. It's about like, sure, like when you are in interfaith relationship, the beginning of the relationship, it's gonna be challenging. Like your parents and my parents in the beginning, they will not be agreeing about that because each one want his son or his daughter to marry to someone who's like in the same religious, because you have been grown up with that for the whole life, for your life. So in order us to talk and communicate with others, we have to make a very strong communication between us first, by building a clear understanding about why we are even together. So I remember that day there's a notebook. We bring a notebook, and then we write down, what do we want from these relationships? What are the values should be built to build these relationships? So this relationship between us. So we write down, what do you want? What do I want? What do I like? What do you like? What do you love? What do you hate?
Really, just writing down and bringing up anything, no matter how small it seems,
exactly,
is so crucial. And I would say especially for an interfaith couple, but for any couple. Like if you're out there and you're like going on like a second date with somebody, I truly believe it's not too early to start asking whatever you want to ask, because this is your life. Like you, and this is, I mean, of course I want it to work between us, but like ultimately we went into these conversations because we both were like, this is our lives. Like, you know, like this is, we want to make sure that we are like open and honest about absolutely everything.
Exactly.
And then see if it kind of works out. I remember when that was happening, when we started making the shift from like dating and being friends and just hanging out to then like being like serious. I remember you were like, I was like, it's just like, it won't work because like our religions are like, really religion was a huge barrier for us, or for me, even into thinking that like it could be something more. And I think one day you were just like, but like, what if it was more serious? And I was like, oh, and that's when like, you know, the things like, and then I was like, okay, if this becomes more serious, we need to talk about this, we need to talk about this, we need to talk about this.
Exactly. So we make everything clear. We write even the red lines, what you don't like, what everything. And honestly, that kind of challenge that we are facing made me, I can call myself a bit religious. So I'm a guy who do a lot of search in religions, either Islam, Christianity, Jewish. I love to know all the ways that make me connect to God more. I search in Buddhism. So I believe that there is a lot of ways to reach God, and each one has his own way. God has bring these religions to show us the ways how we can connect to Him. So even me, like I was like, for me, the last book that came from God, it was Quran. So it made me go and search more deep in Quran about what's about like why we are like two different religions and everything. Until like there is one verse in Quran, when I read it, I was like, it was a good sign for me. When God, He was saying in Quran, I'm going to say it in Arabic and then I'm going to give you the translations. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا وَالنَّصَارَى وَالصَّابِئِينَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Means the ones who are the believers, like the Muslims and the Jewish and the Christian and the one who are with the religions of Abraham, and who's believing in the last day when we're gonna meet all God, and God, He's saying that you will not, you shall not be having fear, or because you will go to heaven. So we are gonna go to heaven if you have God within ourselves. But if she's gonna do it in Christianity way, that is her choice. And if I'm gonna do it in Islam way, that in our choice. So we all have the freedom of choice.
And I think like respecting that about the other person, learning and understanding that you can learn so much. Like one of the first things that I said to my parents when we were talking about like, cause it's a tough conversation to have with your family. I was like, Rahim makes me a better Christian. Like just like seeing his relationship with God and seeing the practices here, I'm like I can implement things and I can use that sort of like relationship that he has with God to also help strengthen my own relationship with God. So I think viewing it in that sort of way, rather than, I think what can be a little bit dangerous is if people start wanting to change the other person. Exactly. And you get into a relationship wanting the other person to change. This is when I think issues arise. But ultimately, I think we both have the belief that we both have this utmost respect for the other's religion and believe that there are, like, I guess without getting too into it, there are multiple routes to God.
Exactly.
This, like you were saying, this one source that it's
reach to God in the way that you feel comfortable with. And maybe last thing that one day, me and Christina, we were talking. I told her, with you, I feel like I'm a better Muslim. And she was like, with you, I feel like I'm a better Christian. So she knows God from the thing that she was growing up with. And I know God with the thing that I was growing up. We always, like, we have also the freedom also to search. Like, like we are the one who are deciding to take every good things from each thing. So I'm learning from her religions. Sometimes when we talk with her parents, she really sent, like, especially her mom, when she sent me like very nice verses from the Bible. I was like, that's so
really
nice. And we one day we were talking about the story of Maryam in Quran to them. So the truth is with God. So everyone should ask God the right guidance. Guide me to the right way, God.
I think when, like when my parents send us verses, or when Rahim will read passages from the Quran to me, I think you start to realize that that the real meat is like the same and it's overlapping. And I think that if you let, there's so much out there right now that kind of makes you feel like you need to focus on the differences. And it's like, if you're in an interfaith relationship and you notice some differences, it's like, it's okay. You know, this is why there are different religions. There's always going to be differences, you know, like no matter how long we have conversations about the differences, they will still be there. And so it's better, I think, to just accept it and be like, this is a beautiful part of your religion, and this is a beautiful part of my religion. And it's so beautiful that we have all these overlapping things that we can then relate on and learn from each other. And
like maybe notice, the thing is, one of the best things that we God has guided us in this relationship, it's about learning from each other. So when I learn about her culture, and she learn about my culture, here we can build a space between us where we can build our own culture together. So with the good communication that made us, alhamdulillah, almost finishing our first year together as husband and wife. But we were together for 2 years now. Before that we were dating for 1 year. So I'm so glad, I'm so grateful. We're gonna talk a lot about small details can make a couple's life better in other episodes. It was nice talking to you.
I mean, what I want to close with is that if you are in an interfaith relationship, just first of all, like, you're not alone, right? If you are considering yourselves like in interfaith relationships, you have a relationship with God. So if you're struggling with things, first and foremost, pray. This is what we both do, where we're like, why do we think this is just like our own burdens to carry, or like that we can even find the answers just ourselves? Like, we need to pray about it and talk to each other about it, right? Exactly. Like open communication, and just knowing that that you can talk to the other person about anything that you're thinking about, or
anything. Even small details can make a difference. So small thoughts in your mind, when you just came and you bring it out, it will really help in solving anything within you to each other, so you can build a strong relationship together.
Yep.
Thank you very much. See you soon.